Thank you, Bill. Bill Fisher, our very efficient Deputy County Executive. Thank you very much for that introduction. That was perfect. Welcome to all of you. It is my pleasure to be here to deliver the 2013 State of the County Address. Much has happened in our county in the last year, and there is much to report. As we begin, I'd like to welcome I'd also like to recognize some of the county employees who are here and new since my last State of the County Address. Steve Morgan took on the job as Chief Fiscal Officer in June of last year, and Steve has been excellent. In addition to managing his departments, Steve is charged with helping us set policy. A great example of the work he does is the recent plan to provide health benefits to retirees through a Medicare Advantage plan. This approach will provide a richer benefit package to retirees at a substantially lower price. When fully implemented, the county will save $4 million annually. In addition to Steve, we have some new department heads here with us. Please join me in welcoming our new Facilities Commissioner, Dwayne Owens, our Veterans Agency Director, Corliss Dennis, and our Probation Commissioner, Andrew Sisherman. I'm happy to be working with all of you. As I prepare for the State of the County every year, it's a good opportunity to reflect not only on where we plan to go, but where we are and how we got here. While the financial results for 2012 are not quite final, it appears that the county will once again end the year with a surplus. This is great news, and I want to thank the legislature for working with me. Together, we've been very successful. And we remain vigilant. A big part of the reason that we're in good fiscal shape is because we adapted quickly to the recession. As soon as we saw like 2012 help Onondaga County maintain high bond ratings. According to Moody's, only 2 New York State counties have achieved a higher rating than Onondaga County. One of the benefits of a strong bond rating is the county's ability to borrow money at very low rates. In 2012, we issued $51.4 million in general obligation bonds at an interest cost of 2.7%. It's our lowest rate in recent history. With people in need of work and the county in need of capital improvements, we seized the opportunity we had with the low cost of money available. And we have seen, though, especially at the federal level, that borrowing money without a plan for how you will pay it back can very quickly lead you to a crisis. That's why I'm happy to tell you that Onondaga County is once again leading the way in financial management. In cooperation with the legislature, we've set aside $5 million of our fund balance to account for the spike in debt payments we know will recent years. The county has a healthy fund balance, money which belongs to the taxpayers. By applying it to and sell out a Syracuse Crunch game on the same Saturday afternoon, you must be doing something right. But we also have, for the first time in a long time, a new entertainment destination. As a community, we partnered with the pyramid companies in the 1990s to build Carousel Center and then again on its recent expansion, Destiny USA. The basic assertion to the taxpayers from the beginning, when Mayor Tom Young first proposed the deal, was that the increase in sales tax would more than offset the waiver of property taxes. There's been confusing information about the deal, but I'm here to tell you that the project is, in fact, spinning off millions of new sales tax dollars to our city and to our county. Today, Destiny is open and thriving, and our whole community is benefiting. It's not just the taxpayers who benefit. In 2013, more than 5,000 people will be employed at Destiny USA, and 400 more continue to work in construction jobs that are related to the project. Much of the sales tax growth that we're seeing is generated specifically by Destiny, and it's from people who are visiting us from outside our area. This slide shows where U.S. shoppers came from during one recent week. Destiny's investing hundreds of thousands of dollars to advertise our region in Canada and across New York State. Recent projections show that 23 million people will visit Destiny USA in 2013, and the community is seeing the benefit which was promised long ago. There's also collateral benefit that we get from having Destiny USA as an attraction. Destiny helps us attract conferences and conventions, which generate both room taxes and more sales tax. As you may have heard, Onondaga County was chosen as the site of the 2018 U.S. Bowling Conference. This event will attract 80,000 visitors. Major thanks are due to County Legislature Chairman Ryan McMahon for his work securing this exciting opportunity for our community. Along with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, Ryan has been campaigning heavily for us and even traveled to Texas personally to make the pitch to them directly. Thank you, Ryan, and thank you to the Convention and Visitors Bureau for making this a reality. Another conference we're working on is the direct result of the very successful Save the Rain program. I never imagined 4 years ago when we came up with the name Save the Rain that it would become a nationally recognized program. We're now working with Judith Enck, the EPA's regional administrator for New York, New Jersey, and Puerto Rico, to host a national green infrastructure conference here in Syracuse. As you may remember, Onondaga County was chosen by the EPA as one of 10 green infrastructure partners. We're inviting the other partners to a convention here to learn from each other and share what we know with the communities that are following our lead. After all, where better to have a green infrastructure meeting than at a convention center with a green roof? Save the Rain has been wildly successful, and it's thanks in large part to the hard work of Deputy County Executive Matt Millay, WEP Commissioner Tom Rhodes, the hardworking men and women in our Water Environment Protection Department, and the many outside contractors who are working very hard on behalf of Onondaga County. In 2012, we advanced many high-profile Save the Rain projects. Work began on the construction of a wetland treatment system along Harbor Brook on Syracuse's west side. When it's complete, the wetland will passively treat 13 million gallons of polluted stormwater that now flows untreated into Onondaga Lake. In fact, we're simply restoring a wetland system that was filled in years ago when we failed to appreciate that wetlands serve as natural filters for our water resources. And unlike sewage treatment plants that use a lot of electricity, you don't have to plug in a wetland. Work was also completed on Phase 1 of the Connective Corridor project. I was honored as our community was recognized by the U.S. Green Building Council for our community's close collaboration on this project. I applaud Chancellor Cantor for her leadership on this transformative project and thank her for agreeing, very late in the process, to allow us to include Save the Rain in the project's design. Today, when you drive down Genesee Street, in addition to wonderful green bike lanes, you'll see rain gardens, new tree plantings, and parking areas paved with porous pavement, all helping us in our efforts to clean and protect Onondaga Lake. I encourage all of you to visit our new Save the Rain website. Last year, we launched an updated and improved site that includes all of the details on every Save the Rain project, including technical drawings and project specifications. The public owns these projects, and we take great pride in ensuring that this information is accessible and available to those who want to see how we are investing their tax dollars. I'm very pleased to announce that we have completed work on the War Memorial Water Reuse Project, and that in doing so, we won a $750,000 grant from New York State's Environmental Facilities Corporation to help offset the cost of the project. We were successful in securing these funds because this unique project uses state-of-the-art treatment technologies and demonstrates that stormwater can be reused as a resource rather than simply dumped in a sewer. Instead, we're capturing and storing the rainwater off the War Memorial's roof, treating it on site, and using it to make ice for the Syracuse Crunch. This year, we'll expand the use of the system to help with irrigation at the Everson Plaza and around the War Memorial. Our Save the Rain program is not a responsibility that we take lightly. 4 years ago, we were given an opportunity to do things differently, and we have an obligation to do the job well, share our story, and help other communities share similar success. And there are many communities seeking to learn from our experience. To the chagrin of his family, Deputy County Executive Matt Millay has visited 11 communities in the past 2 years to tell the story about how we save the rain in Onondaga County. I appreciate very much Matt's willingness to be our ambassador. It's been a very valuable investment. I'm equally appreciative of Matt's wife, Lori, who holds down the fort with these 3 little guys while Matt is away, telling our story and earning invaluable goodwill. We appreciate very much that Matt is helping his adopted hometown become a better place for all of us to live. Our success brings visitors, students, and admiration to our community. I've said it before, and I mean it quite literally. From way over here in Onondaga County, we are changing the world. In fact, Matt was invited to speak at the White House at a National Green Infrastructure Summit. And just a few weeks ago, the White House listed Syracuse as a model community for advancing green infrastructure among several very large, high-profile cities. We should all be proud of what Save the Rain has accomplished and excited about what lies ahead. And if you'll indulge me for just one more final point on Save the Rain, I am very proud to announce that Onondaga County has been selected to receive the 2013 United States Water Prize for Save the Rain from the U.S. Water Alliance. It honors individuals, institutions, and organizations that have made an outstanding achievement in the advancement of sustainable solutions to our nation's water challenges. As we work, I told my husband I'm water, I'm not sewer. As we work to strengthen and expand our water economy in Central New York, we can have no better marketing tool for our community than to have national organizations like the U.S. Water Alliance recognize and promote the proud reality that we, in fact, are national leaders in protecting our valuable water resources. A great partner in our effort to clean Onondaga Lake is Honeywell. As you may know, Honeywell is spending $450 million to do its part. There's been much activity on the site, and Honeywell recently opened the Onondaga Lake Cleanup Visitor Center, where the public can see the progress firsthand. Thank you to everyone at Honeywell for all that you are doing. And we have exciting work taking place on the other side of the lake as well. Democracy was born on the shores of Onondaga Lake. 5 nations came together to form the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and they're a key part of our region's history. We have formed a public-private partnership with the Onondaga Historical Association, the Onondaga Nation, the Friends of Historic Onondaga Lake, Lemoyne College, and Syracuse University to create the Haudenosaunee Heritage Center at Ste. Marie among the Iroquois. Planning is already underway and will continue throughout this year to tell the story of the Haudenosaunee history in relationship to our community, state, nation, and the world. It's an important story to tell, and this partnership will ensure that it's told accurately. In June of last year, the Syracuse Onondaga Planning Agency released an updated development plan for Onondaga County. It's available at future.ongov.net, and I encourage all of you to read it. The plan, it's a successor to the county's 2010 development plan, was crafted with the input of planning professionals, community stakeholders, many public meetings, polls, surveys, and extensive community outreach. It's interesting, and I think compelling, that what came out of this process is very similar to the 2010 plan. Both plans agree that there should be a priority placed on development in areas served by existing infrastructure. Both plans agree that our community cores, the city of Syracuse, as well as our 15 villages, are vital to the long-term health of our community. And both plans stress the importance of preserving our rural landscape and the viability of our $140 million agriculture economy. I understand that our draft plan has resulted in some debate and even a little resistance. Debate is good. Let's continue to discuss the pros and cons of what we've proposed. I want to assure everyone in Onondaga County, however, that this plan was developed with the best interests of our taxpayers, future residents of Onondaga County, and our children in mind. I recognize that there are strong and vocal national opponents to the notion of sustainability and smart growth. Please keep in mind that they may not all be aware of the fact that we are struggling to pay for the infrastructure that we already have in place. They do not share my concern about the potential for a $90 million upgrade to the Oak Orchard wastewater treatment facility should development continue north of Route 31 unchecked by sound planning. And I do not think that they are appreciating that there's a cost to poor planning and that that cost often does not make itself known for a generation or more, and it's often exponentially greater than the original investment. As a matter of fact, in an effort to balance the rhetoric from the outside, let's look at what an expert on Onondaga County thinks about the value of good planning and smart growth. Please take a look at this. And I quote, "Onondaga County's goals include a vibrant, growing economy, a high quality of life, and fiscal strength. Our strategies in response to change require cost-effective infrastructure, sustainable development practices, and stewardship of our environment. Onondaga County's policies for investment in land use call for investment in existing communities, preservation of infrastructure and transportation assets, sustainable urban and suburban settlement patterns, and protection of rural economy, agriculture land, and access to natural resources. That quote is from a 1998 letter to our community from then County Executive Nick Pirro, and the wisdom holds true today. I think it's very important to be direct and blunt about where I hope our plan goes from here. My administration stands ready to work with the legislature to advance a final development plan that reflects these priorities and ensures that we're not burdening future generations with the costs of poor planning and bad decisions made today. Development can and should continue in Onondaga County. It's important to our economy. The cost of this development should be borne, however, by those advancing these projects, not the unknowing taxpayer. And this cost can be reduced when it occurs in areas already served by existing infrastructure. In this scenario, everyone wins. New development happens, we're not burdened with the cost of new infrastructure, and our tax base grows rather than feeding upon itself. But with all of that having been said, you can call the plan anything you like. I am open to an honest and forthright debate about our plan and how it might be improved upon. I think we can all agree on this. Supporting development that provides net positive tax revenue is vital to stabilizing taxes and fostering future economic development. In an effort to further these priorities, I will, once again, submit to the legislature a proposal to authorize funding for our Sustainability Pays initiative. I'd like to recognize many of our towns and villages for the efforts that they've already taken to foster sustainability. The towns of Cicero, Clay, DeWitt, Lysander, Marcellus, Skinny Atlas, and Van Buren, as well as the villages of Baldwinsville, East Syracuse, Marcellus, and North Syracuse, are to be commended for their commitment to sustainability. Each of these municipalities voted to opt into Real Property Tax Law Section 485A, which exists solely to promote sustainability in our urban cores. Congratulations to each of you, and thank you to the Onondaga County Legislature for voting unanimously in favor of Section 485A and a more sustainable future. And thank you to the legislature also for supporting our request last year to provide $1 million for farmland protection in 2013. The county's new Agriculture Council is hard at work, and we're happy with its direction. One of the specific tasks I gave the Agriculture Council was to help ensure that county government is working to promote and preserve Onondaga County's strong farming community. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, Onondaga County has 692 farms occupying 150,000 acres of farmland. The market value of agricultural products sold is $140 million, with the average farm producing almost $200,000 worth of crop and livestock sales. I also charged the council with the task of helping to develop strategies and programs to promote local food regionally, as well as strengthen and enhance connections between the county's urban core and its rural agricultural areas. This initiative has been a tremendous success. I offer a special thanks to the co-chairs, Paul Nojame, David Knapp, and Kai Hillsberg, and all the council members for your hard work. You may have noticed that for the second straight year, our region has had more success than any other with Governor Cuomo's Regional Economic Development Council competition. We were recognized for having the best overall plan and for having the best outcomes for 2 years in a row. Thank you to Chancellor Cantor and Center State CEO President Rob Simpson for leading this effort. And the Regional Council isn't the only good economic news in our county. Our own Department of Economic Development, led by Mary Beth Primo, has had a great year as well. Our Onondaga County Civic Development Corporation, which we call OCDC, and our IDA facilitated $194 million in private capital spending in Onondaga County. The first business to qualify for our IDA's new adaptive reuse pilot is Bitzer Scroll. We created the new pilot in 2012 to encourage the redevelopment of Onondaga County's existing industrial infrastructure and ultimately raise the value of commercial properties across the county. Bitzer Scroll expanded its Onondaga County presence to accommodate its growing research and development and manufacturing needs. Bitzer relocated to the vacant John Deere building, and over the next 5 years will add 56 new well-paying jobs. In other good economic development news, OCDC assisted with the issuance of $142.7 million in bonding for St. Joe's Hospital to significantly expand and modernize its facilities on the north side of Syracuse. And Southern Wine and Spirits of upstate New York is nearly doubling its warehouse and distribution facility in the town of Salina, cementing its position in Onondaga County. OSIDA and Cisco Syracuse closed on a pilot agreement for Cisco's $20 million expansion and renovation of its distribution center in the town of Van Buren, and consolidation of its Western New York operations to its Onondaga County facility. Tessie Plastics in the town of Elbridge worked with OSIDA on its 100,000 square foot manufacturing expansion to accommodate its growing plastic injection molding operations, bringing Tessie's approximate number of employees to 725. And last year, Anheuser-Busch Brewery in Lysander began to operate under the terms of a new 15-year pilot approved by OSIDA and our legislature, the town of Lysander, and the Baldwinsville School District. Thanks to the new pilot, Anheuser-Busch InBev agreed to invest more than $7 million in its canning capacity in its brewery. Teamsters Local 1149, which represents about 90% of the brewery's workforce, said it best when they proudly announced that, quote, "This is the first significant bump we've seen in 5 years. Thanks to a tremendous level of cooperation and collaboration between state and local government, the Baldwinsville School District, Anheuser-Busch InBev Management, and the Teamsters Union, we're seeing more beer production and more jobs here in Onondaga County." The good news on the job front is thanks to a smart team of people in our Economic Development Office who listen to businesses about what they need and then respond effectively. Also in the last year, in cooperation with officials in Cayuga, Oswego, and Madison counties, we set up the Foreign Trade Zone under a modern, flexible framework, and I'm pleased to share with you that just a few weeks ago, the United States Department of Commerce approved a reorganization of the county's long-dormant Foreign Trade Zone. Foreign trade zones can help businesses reduce costs, which can lead to more competitive U.S. operations, thereby helping to maintain U.S. activity and jobs. By helping local employers remain competitive, zones can contribute boosting employment opportunities and encourage increased investment in the United States facilities. As you can see, we've had great accomplishments on the economic development front. And to be even more successful, we need to continue to lower property taxes and to make government more affordable. We know we need to continue to modernize our system of government, and that by doing so, we can save money. But there is still real resistance to change, and at least sometimes there is still a fear of the uncertainty. A vote to consolidate can mean big change, and people want to know what happens when you take the leap of faith and do something like abolish your local police force. To address that uncertainty, I think there's value in looking back briefly at the Clay Police merger. Believe it or not, this year will be the 5th anniversary of that consolidation. The public heard much about this proposal at the time, but as is often the case, we didn't hear much about what happened once the story was out of the news. So I have a report today that I think is meaningful and might be helpful when weighing consolidation decisions in the future. The Clay Police merger was a resounding success. In 2008, we conservatively projected that the savings to Clay taxpayers would be about $1.1 million in the first year. The actual savings were over $1.3 million. At the time, Clay leaders projected the 10-year savings to be $18 million, and recent projections put that number closer to $30 million over 10 years. These savings are real, and the Clay taxpayers are the beneficiaries. I appreciate that voters in Clay took the bold first step, and I hope that by sharing the 5-year results, we can encourage taxpayers, when they're given an opportunity to vote on a consolidation referendum, to vote in favor of a more modern and efficient local government. We know from the Clay story that there are millions of dollars in savings if we can only muster the courage to change the way we do things. Taxpayers will feel the results in their wallets, and we will lower costs to businesses and encourage even more job growth. But Clay residents aren't the only ones benefiting from government modernization. We do have towns and villages across the county that I'd like to commend for their creativity. Van Buren, Salina, and the village of Baldwinsville are sharing a comptroller. The Memphis Fire Department merged with the Warner's Fire Department. Geddes and Salve are now sharing a codes officer. The city of Syracuse and 6 other municipalities merged their purchasing operations with Onondaga County, saving hundreds of thousands of dollars for taxpayers in our county. Our purchasing department, led very capably by Sean Carroll, is also providing service to 20 fire departments. And to make sure Sean is kept very busy, he has also consolidated auction services for 32 political subdivisions, generating nearly $1 million in revenue that can be used to offset taxpayer expenses. And remember, consolidations don't always have to be completed within the county. In January, we announced a new partnership. Oneida County is contracting with our medical examiner's office and has eliminated its own system of coroners. Under the leadership of Ann Rooney, we're taking a look at all of our human services. We know that we can do better for the children and families in our community. We want to support youth in their own homes, schools, and communities, and give them the opportunity to succeed and prosper as adults. Our plan for 2013, which I'm going to present to the legislature during the budget process, is to start from scratch. Rather than too many separate departments in the human services arena, we plan to coordinate and consolidate our efforts so that we will ultimately have a Department of Children and Family Services, a Department of Adult Services, and a traditional Department of Social Services to administer our public benefits, in addition to the departments that are still mandated by the state. This realignment will be more customer and prevention focused, but it'll also have the added benefit of being administered financially through one system, again, saving taxpayers money. You've heard me say many times that we cannot expect to get our social services costs under control unless and until we break the cycle of poverty plaguing too many families in our community. One effort that's accomplishing this goal is Say Yes to Education. I can say with confidence that our collaboration with Say Yes to Education and the Syracuse City School District is producing results. Over the last year, the Wallace Foundation made a multi-million-dollar investment in Say Yes, and I attended a funding meeting at the Ford Foundation where Say Yes was celebrated as the future of urban education. I attended meetings with the United Negro College Fund in an effort to convince them to join the other private colleges which provide free tuition for Say Yes graduates. The United States Secretary of Education, Arne Duncan, had this to say about our community. Quote, "What you have done with the Say Yes to Education plan, I think, is phenomenal. What Syracuse has done is absolutely amazing and has implications for a national model. The future is very bright, and it is with deep gratitude that I thank the local foundations and businesses for contributing to the Say Yes endowment." Just last week, Bob and Sue Conjal announced their generous gift of $100,000 to Say Yes. While they usually make philanthropic donations anonymously, they agreed to let me highlight their generous, personal donation in an effort to encourage others to do the same. Okay, now, because the county charter requires that I deliver technically the state of the county, Please let me turn to a more technical response for just a couple minutes. I caution you that the following can be a little dry, but it offers a good analysis of where we are. To confirm our belief that we're headed in the right direction, we now have an independent outside source. The New York State Comptroller has adopted an evaluation system for municipalities across the state. Called the Fiscal Stress Monitoring System, this program seeks to identify local governments that are in fiscal stress. There are two major components of the monitoring system, a financial indicator and an environmental indicator, and each component is broken into subgroups. The State Comptroller has assigned points to each indicator and then weighted the categories to give an accurate indication about the fiscal health of a municipality. We think it's a valuable exercise to run the county through the analysis, and here's what we found. The way the system works, the lower the score, the stronger your fiscal health. The maximum number of points a county can be given on the financial side is 29. The county was given 2 points in the area of fund balance. To achieve a perfect score, the State Comptroller wants to see a general fund balance which exceeds 20% of total expenses. For Onondaga County, this would mean a fund balance in excess of $147 million. While some have said our fund balance is too high, financial managers would like to see it even a little bit higher, and for that we were assigned 2 points. Given the 50% weighted value of that measure, Onondaga County's score is 12.5%. On the other financial indicators, the county scored very well. We have not run a deficit in any of the last 3 years and earned 0 points. Our cash exceeded our liabilities, and our cash as a percentage of our monthly liabilities scored us 0 points. We issue no short-term debt in the county, and we have not issued any in the previous 3 years, which is excellent. Our personnel and employee benefit costs are well within the healthy range, and we scored no points there either. And finally, our debt service as a percentage of our revenue is very low. With zeros in every category except fund balance, the county scored a total of 12.5%. A score of 65 to 100 is significant financial stress. 55 to 65 is moderate financial stress. 45 to 55 is susceptible to financial stress, and a score below 45% indicates that the municipality is, quote, not in financial stress. With a total of 12.5%, we're well under the threshold and can safely say that on the financial side, Onondaga County is fiscally sound. The other major category is environmental, and there are a possible 27 points which can be scored. Here's how things look in Onondaga County. With our population up in the last census and our median age growing only slowly, the county scored 0 points. While our child poverty rate is below the New York State average, the rate of our change earned us a point, with a 10% weight associated with the point. Onondaga County's at 2.5%. With our property values growing, we scored another 0, and our unemployment rate is trending down. Our overall unemployment rate is staying below the state average. We earned 2 more zeros. The only other place we get a point added is in our total number of jobs. The county lost 249 jobs between 2010 and 2011. With our own staff reductions inside county government, we are probably responsible for that number, and we will accept the ding. With another 10% weight for that point, our total has grown to 5.83. The county's limited reliance on federal and state aid relative to our overall budget and our ability to stay well under our constitutional tax limits earns us more zeros. And finally, the fact that our sales tax receipts exceed the consumer price index earns us our final 0 for a total of 5.83%. Again, a score over 65 is significant financial stress, 55 is moderate, 45 is susceptible to financial stress, and below 45 indicates that a municipality is not in financial stress. The 5.83% is far below any indication that we suffer from fiscal stress. And with an abundance of caution, we even called the State Comptroller and asked him to check our numbers, which he did. There should be no surprises when the state reports the fiscal health of local municipalities. There will be few, if any, that are able to claim a more solid financial footing than Onondaga County. And I would like to conclude on a very brief personal note. When I asked the voters to allow me to take on the job of county executive in 2007, I told them that I wanted to make Onondaga County a place where all of our children could thrive. You've given me the last 5 years with an incredibly talented and generous team of professionals. I've surrounded myself with the most loyal, hard-working group of people anywhere, and I ask only that you judge us on our accomplishments. My husband Mark is here tonight with our oldest son. Jack was 12 when I started the job, and he is now a high school senior making plans for college. I will be eternally grateful that you gave me the opportunity to work hard and make this the kind of place he might choose to live on his own someday. While we certainly have more work to do, I can say confidently that we are, in fact, headed in the right direction. And like a lot of parents, I'd walk in front of a bus to do what's best for my kids. And trust me, on some days, it feels quite literally as if I have. But when I reflect on the last 5 years, I do see good things. I am proud to call Central New York my home, and I thank you for the opportunity to be your county executive. With that, good night, and we will be back to work tomorrow.